So, what are your favorite vines? Mine are wow and oh my god, they were roommates. Anyways, I wanted to make this video for a while now. There's something that I wanted to talk about, and basically what it is that my channel has had a basic theme running through it of, I guess, what you might call spirituality. And, some of it's a little new agey, like some of the terminology or whatever. And basically, I went away for almost a year and then came back, and I really haven't done any spiritual videos. Kind of. I mean, I did that empath video, but I just felt that it deserved some extra explaining. So basically, all I was doing before was documenting an awakening that I had. And so I wasn't really trying to, I don't know what I was doing. I was just sharing my experience with an awakening. And, you can tell if you've seen any of my other past videos that I wasn't really in with the spiritual community. I already had started to kind of diverge from some things that I saw or believed to be true. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this community at all. I think that the whole purpose, just like, the beginning of religion, was to, give people something to believe in. Like, not look at things too literally, but to kind of give people hope and, try to explain the unexplainable. And the thing is that I'm an INTJ. So I'm all about conclusions. Let's conclude this. What's the point? Let's find some answers. I want truth. I want the truth. So, it took up a lot of my mind. It took up a lot of my, of me. And, I was getting ideas and insights along the way that it was now time to kind of move on. It was time to get grounded. And I hope that you understand that. It was time to kind of work on my material life. Like, I wasn't working when I first started doing those videos. I wasn't being an independent, self-sufficient person. And, I think the whole goal in life, without trying to dog out anyone, is to find your own personal sense of spirituality. Whatever it is that you believe in that can keep you kind of going every day, and to incorporate it into your life here on planet Earth. And I feel like sometimes I see, some people, and I see that they're so spiritual, like they present themselves as very spiritual, and, they have all these things to say and to tell you, how you should live and whatever. And I just wonder, if you took a magnifying glass and zoomed in real tight on their life, how many people you'd find just absolutely losing their shit in traffic, or having an argument with random people at the store because they're so spiritual, because their expectations are so high for themselves and for others that they can no longer relate to the regular human being. And therefore they kind of build this life around, being alone with their spirituality, or only people that, think the exact same way as them. And I'm just not like that. I feel like the whole point of awakening is that you are following what these people said in society. You were following them despite that not being what you were supposed to be doing, for a greater portion of your life. And then you woke up to who you actually are, and then you try to, be an individual person that gets along in the world and contributes to society and creates things. And I feel like, what is the point of waking up if you're just going to go from following the sleeping herd to following the woke herd? And I just feel like sometimes it's a slippery slope. It's very easy to be spiritual and understanding and loving from the confines of your home. But once you go out into the working world and the matrix and the whatever you want to call it, to take those principles that you learned during your awakening and apply them to everyday life is a very difficult challenge, especially when there's people out there who are going to try you at every turn. And I believe in the law of attraction to a certain extent, but and I'm always looking for answers. I get kind of really into something and I let it, overtake my life. And that's just something that, that's my personal problem that I have to kind of navigate around and work on and, use it to the best of its ability rather than have it be a hindrance to me. And I feel like, that's an ongoing process. But I guess sometimes when life gets a little hard, which life is hard, sometimes it's difficult. We face challenges. There's discomfort. That discomfort is, showing you that you're growing. Like nothing, you don't succeed by being comfortable, by not moving forward, by not changing, by not, adapting or evolving. And I just feel like that when it gets hard, sometimes like it's so easy to just want to romanticize that time where we were awakening and felt at one with everything and understood everything and wish for it to be that way again. And sometimes I struggle with that. But really, in actuality, it's like that's a part of me that's never going to go away. Like it hasn't gone someplace. My focus is just not completely on that right now. My focus should be on, whatever I feel like is the next step in my journey. I think it's important to realize that I'm never going to figure it out. If Stephen Hawking and, all these intelligent scientists like have yet to figure it out or to fully explain it with conclusive evidence, then what makes me think that I'm going to completely figure it out? And maybe perhaps what I believe is that it's kind of different for everyone. Like we all have these different perceptions and these different realities, and we're living in a totally kind of separate universe. Even though we're all human and we're all connected, we very much are living this perception of our own that what's right for me is not necessarily going to be right for you. And that's the whole part of individualism that I believe in. Like working on yourself, working on, what you need to work on as a person just automatically contributes to the whole. You don't have to be, saving everyone else necessarily. Like if someone asks me for help, I'm definitely going to try to reach out and help them if I can, or if it's appropriate. But I'm not going to, act like I know the way for every single person. And I think that's dangerous. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that. That's enough ranting from me. So yeah, I've just been kind of working on myself and, slowly chipping away at like getting more material things and while still trying to keep my like good sense of humor, my sense of peace. Like sometimes it's harder than others, but it shouldn't be made to look at like every day should be such a peaceful process and every day is going to be spiritually wonderful. Like no, we have these like waves, sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down, and it's never going to be the same. Like I might have had an awesome experience going to Six Flags when I was 10 years old, but if I stayed in the place of, remember that one day I went to Six Flags, like that was the best day of my life, and like that keeps me being in that and thinking of that keeps me in a place where I might not experience something to its fullest. I might not top that day that could easily be topped with a new experience, because I'm living in the past and I'm wishing for it to be some way that it used to be. And I still have a lot of, I work mainly by intuition. Like I said, I'm an INTJ, so the intuition I don't feel like is something that's ever really going to change. Like I intuitively do most things in life. Like I try to work on other parts of me or other modes of learning as well a little bit, but intuition and being an empath and things like that, those things don't change for me. Like my spiritual principles haven't really changed that much. I just don't spend all my time focusing on them or trying to make myself fit into some group of people because I have my own moral code. I trust myself as a human being. Like, I know inherently I'm good. It makes me feel bad when I do something negative to someone, or when I hurt someone, or when I go against my own moral code. And I just have to trust that, I know what's right for me. And when I don't, and I make the wrong decision, or I accidentally say something I don't mean, I will apologize. But I really try hard to do the right thing, because I hate to fucking apologize. I hate it more than anything. I hate being wrong. I hate making mistakes. Of course I'm going to, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it. So anyways, I just wanted to make this video kind of explaining. I'm not sure, what all my videos are going to be like. I'm just a bunch of different things. I'm just this girl, this woman in the world trying to, make my way through life and like create a couple things and make a couple connections here and there and learn some things, even if it's the hard way. So anyways, yeah, so I hope you're having a nice day. Oh, let me tell you something just in case you thought I've lost all spirituality. I'll tell you something kind of cool. So sometimes I get into that really intuitive place, and I, you feel that sense of peace. And what could it be? Like a spirit guide, like whatever it is, like maybe I'm just doing the right thing and I get this sense of peace. Well, I was driving the other day and listening to music, kind of like a little bit sad music, and just enjoying the feeling of that. And all of a sudden I thought about my dad, and I thought about the day that he died and what that looked like. And I started to kind of like get into like, oh, like a tiny little thought crept in, like, well, I wonder if he was dying, before I even came down the stairs. I wonder if there's something that I could have done, when really I know there was nothing that I could have done. There's a big part of me that intuitively knows that he was in a death process before I even got to him. And, I knew it then, and doubt sometimes creeps in. And I questioned that, and I questioned, his pain, or whether it was painful for him. And, we never did an autopsy, so we don't really know exactly why he died. But as I was thinking that, the right side of my mouth went numb. Like all around here was just completely numb. And it kind of like freaked me out at first. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? And like, when that happened, my next thought was like, oh, is that a stroke? Like, I just remember thinking, whatever time in the past that I've probably picked that piece of information up, it was stored away. And I'm like, is that a stroke? So I Googled it. I Googled stroke, and it came up right away. It was like, numbness, and I don't even remember what it said, but it was just a quick answer. And then it went away. And, there's no way I could spend all my time trying to figure out what that was. Was it a ghost? Was it my dad? Was it, spirit guides? Was I having a mental break? Ooh. But it's not really important. I feel like the important thing is what it taught me. It was just a piece of me that needed to be kind of healed. I needed to revisit that and look at, oh, do I feel like there's something more I could have done? And was I worried about my dad being in pain at that time? And those two things were answered for me. And that's why I had the experience. Not to necessarily figure it all out or obsess over it, but just to kind of, get a little piece of information. And I feel like that's what spirituality is for me at this time in my life. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.